نام اللہ کے جو بہت ہی رحمان اور رحم کرنے والا ہے۔ جابر بن عبداللہ انصاری رحمۃ اللہ علیہ رسول اللہ صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم کی صاحبزادی حضرت فاطمہ تو زہرا سے روایت کرتے ہیں کہ انہوں نے فرمایا، ایک دن میرے بابا جان جناب رسول خدا حضرت محمد صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم میرے گھر تشریف لائے اور فرمایا، فاطمہ تم پر سلام ہو۔ میں نے جواب دیا، بابا جان آپ پر بھی سلام ہو۔ پھر آپ نے فرمایا، میں اپنے جسم میں نکاہت محسوس کر رہا ہوں۔ میں نے کہا، بابا جان اللہ نہ کرے جو آپ کمزور ہوں۔ پھر آپ نے فرمایا، فاطمہ مجھے میری یمنی چادر لا کر اڑا دو۔ میں نے یمنی چادر لے آئی اور وہ ان پر بابا جان کو اڑا دی۔ میں نے دیکھ رہی تھی کہ آپ کا چہرہ 14ویں کے چاند کی طرح روشن چمک رہا تھا۔ ایک ساتھ نہیں گزری تھی کہ میرے بیٹے حسن آ گئے اور بولے، امی جان آپ پر سلام ہو۔ میں نے جواب دیا، میرے بیٹے میری آنکھوں کی ٹھنڈک، میرے دل کے ٹکڑے تم پر بھی سلام ہو۔ پھر وہ کہنے لگے، امی جان مجھے گھر میں نانا جان کی سی خوشبو آ رہی ہے۔ میں نے کہا، ہاں تمہارے نانا جان چادر اڑے ہوئے ہیں۔ اس پر حسن چادر کے قریب بڑھے اور کہنے لگے، نانا جان اللہ کے رسول آپ پر سلام ہو، کیا مجھے اجازت ہے کہ میں بھی آپ کے پاس چادر میں آ جاؤں؟ آپ نے جواب دیا، میرے بیٹے حوض کوثر کے مالک تم پر بھی سلام ہو، تمہیں اجازت ہے۔ پس امام حسن آپ کے پاس چادر میں پہنچ گئے۔ ایک ساتھ نہیں گزری تھی کہ میرے بیٹے حسین آ گئے اور کہنے لگے، امی جان آپ پر سلام ہو۔ میں نے جواب دیا، میرے بیٹے میری آنکھوں کے تیرے، میرے لخت جگر تم پر بھی سلام ہو۔ پھر وہ مجھ سے کہنے لگا، امی جان مجھے گھر میں نانا جان کی پاک اور پاکیزہ سی خوشبو آ رہی ہے۔ میں نے کہا، ہاں تمہارے نانا جان اور بھائی جان دونوں چادر کے نیچے ہیں۔ اس پر حسین چادر کے قریب گئے اور بولے، نانا جان اے اللہ کے چنیدہ نبی آپ پر سلام ہو، کیا آپ کی اجازت ہے کہ میں بھی دونوں کے پاس چادر میں آ جاؤں؟ آپ نے فرمایا، میرے بیٹے میری امت کو بخشوانے والے تم پر بھی سلام ہو، تمہیں اجازت ہے۔ پس حسین بھی دونوں کے پاس چادر میں پہنچ گئے۔ اس کے بعد امام علی ابن ابی طالب آ گئے اور بولے، رسول کی بیٹی تم پر سلام ہو۔ میں نے جواب دیا، ابو الحسن اے مومنوں کے امیر آپ پر بھی سلام ہو۔ پھر وہ کہنے لگے، فاطمہ مجھے گھر کے اندر اپنے بھائی اور ابن رسول اللہ کی اسی خوشبو آ رہی ہے۔ میں نے جواب دیا، ہاں وہ آپ کے دونوں بیٹے سمیت چادر کے اندر ہیں۔ پھر علی چادر کے قریب گئے اور بولے، اے اللہ کے رسول آپ پر سلام ہو، کیا مجھے بھی اجازت ہے کہ میں آپ کے پاس اس چادر میں آ جاؤں؟ بابا جان نے ان سے فرمایا، تم پر سلام ہو میرے بھائی، میرے وسیع، میرے جانشین، میرے علمبردار، تمہیں اجازت ہے۔ پلس علی بھی چادر میں داخل ہو گئے۔ پھر میں چادر کے قریب گئی اور میں نے کہا، سلام ہو آپ پر بابا جان، اے اللہ کے رسول کیا میں بھی آپ کے پاس چادر میں آ جاؤں؟ بابا جان نے فرمایا، تم پر بھی سلام ہو میری بیٹی، میرا پارے جگر، تمہیں بھی اجازت ہے۔ چنانچہ میں بھی چادر میں چلے گئے۔ اب جو ہم سب چادر میں اکٹھے ہو گئے تو بابا جان نے چادر کے دونوں کنارے پکڑے اور دائیں ہاتھ سے آسمان کی طرف اشارہ کرتے ہوئے فرمایا، اے اللہ یہ میرے اہل بیت، میرے خاص لوگ، میرے خاص حامی، ان کا گوشت میرا گوشت، ان کا خون میرا خون، جو انہیں ستائے گا وہ مجھے اذیت دے گا، جو انہیں رنجیدہ کرے گا وہ مجھے ملول کرے گا، جو ان سے لڑے گا میں ان سے لڑوں گا، جو ان سے صلح رکھے گا میں بھی ان سے صلح رکھوں گا، جو ان سے دشمنی کرے گا میں بھی اس کو دشمن سمجھوں گا، اور جو ان سے دوستی کرے گا میں بھی اس کو دوست جانوں گا، کیونکہ یہ مجھ سے ہیں اور میں ان سے ہوں۔ اے اللہ تو اپنی صلوات، برکات اور رحمت بخش اور خوشنودی میرے لیے اور ان کے لیے قرار دے، اور ان سے نجاست کو دور رکھ اور انہیں پاک اور پاکیزہ رکھ۔ پھر اللہ بزرگ برتر نے فرمایا، اے فرشتوں، اے آسمان کے رہنے والوں، میں نے یہ مضبوط آسمان، پھیلی ہوئی زمین، روشن ستارے، چمکیلا سورج، گھومتے سیارے، تھلتھلاتا سمندر، تیرتی کشتی اور ساری چیزیں صرف ان 5 افراد کی خاطر اور انہی کی محبت میں پیدا کی ہیں جو اس چادر کے اندر ہیں۔ اس پر جبرائیل امین نے پوچھا، اے پروردگار یہ چادر کے اندر کون لوگ ہیں؟ اللہ بزرگ برتر نے فرمایا، یہ نبی کے اہل بیت اور رسالت کا خزینہ ہیں۔ یہ فاطمہ، ان کے باپ، ان کا شوہر، ان کے 2 بیٹے ہیں۔ جبرائیل نے عرض کیا، اے پروردگار، مجھے بھی اجازت دے کہ میں زمین پر اتروں اور ان میں شامل ہو کر چھٹا فرد بن جاؤں۔ اللہ نے فرمایا، تمہیں اجازت ہے۔ پس جبرائیل امین زمین پر اترے اور کہنے لگے، اے اللہ کے رسول، آپ پر سلام ہو۔ اللہ بزرگ و برتر آپ کو سلام کہتا ہے، آپ کو درود اور احترام سے سرفراز کرتا ہے، اور آپ سے کہتا ہے کہ میری عزت اور بزرگی کی قسم، میں نے یہ مضبوط آسمان، پھیلی ہوئی زمین، روشن ستارے، چمکتا سورج، گھومتے سیارے، تھل تھلاتا سمندر، تیز کشتیاں اور ساری چیزیں صرف تم لوگوں کی خاطر اور تمہاری ہی محبت میں پیدا کی، اور اللہ نے مجھے اجازت دی ہے کہ میں چادر کے اندر آپ کے پاس آ جاؤں۔ اے اللہ کے رسول، کیا آپ بھی مجھے اجازت دیتے ہیں؟ رسول اللہ نے فرمایا، اے اللہ کی وحی لانے والے، تم پر بھی سلام ہو۔ ہاں، تمہیں بھی اجازت ہے۔ پھر جبرائیل بھی ہم لوگوں کے ساتھ چادر میں ہو گئے۔ اس کے بعد جبرائیل نے میرے بابا جان سے کہا، اللہ آپ لوگوں کو وحی بھیجتا ہے اور کہتا ہے، واقع اللہ نے یہ ارادہ کیا ہے کہ آپ اہل بیت سے نجاست کو دور رکھیں اور آپ لوگوں کو پاک اور پاکیزہ رکھیں۔ تب علی نے بابا جان سے کہا، مجھے بتائیے کہ اس چادر کے اندر آ جانا اللہ کے نزدیک کیا فضیلت رکھتا ہے؟ اس پر رسول اللہ نے فرمایا، اس ذات کی قسم جس نے مجھے نبی بنایا اور لوگوں کی نجات کی خاطر رسالت کے لیے منتخب کیا۔ اہل زمین کی جس محفل میں ہمارے پیروکاروں اور دوست دار اکٹھے ہوں گے اور وہاں ہماری یہ حدیث بیان کی کریں گے، اس پر اللہ کی رحمتیں نازل ہوں گی۔ فرشتے حلقے میں لے لیں گے، اور جب تک وہ لوگ محفل سے رخصت نہیں ہو جائیں گے، ان کے گناہوں کی بخشش کے لیے دعا کرتے رہیں گے۔ اس پر علی نے کہا، اللہ کی قسم، ہم اس وقت کامیاب ہو گئے اور ہمارے شیعہ بھی کامیاب ہو گئے۔ پھر رسول اللہ نے فرمایا، اے علی، اس ذات کی قسم جس نے مجھے سچا نبی بنایا اور لوگوں کی نجات کی خاطر رسالت کے منصب پر فائز کیا، اہل زمین کی جس محفل میں ہمارے پیروکار اور دوست دار اکٹھے ہوں گے اور ہماری یہ حدیث بیان کریں گے، اس میں جو دکھی ہوگا اس کا دکھ دور ہوگا، جو غمزدہ ہوگا اس کا غم چھٹکارا دے گا، اور جو کوئی حاجت مند ہوگا اس کی حاجت پوری کر دے گا۔ پھر علی نے فرمایا، اللہ کی قسم، ہم اس وقت کامیابی اور برکت پائی، اور کعبے کے رب کی قسم، اسی طرح ہمارے شیعہ بھی کامیاب ہو گئے، اس دنیا میں اور آخرت میں خوش نصیب ٹھہرے۔ اللہم صلی علی محمد و آل محمد. Now I'm going to request Brother Naeem to please start today's lecture. Today will be the last lecture from Sheikh Naeem. You can come. And inshallah, we will have Salatul Eid on Friday, tentatively, as of today. So, we'll send the information on Salatul Eid. Barkhushnood Imam Zamana Bulantar Salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ألف لام ميم. ذلك الكتاب لا ريب فيه هدى للمتقين الذين يؤمنون بالغيب ويقيمون الصلاة ومما رزقناهم ينفقون صدق الله العلي العظيم.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Brothers and sisters in Islam, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. As we know, Shahr Ramadan came and it's almost over. And it feels like it just started yesterday. But there's important lessons to learn every single Shahr Ramadan. And one important lesson that every Shahr Ramadan we learn, that Shahr Ramadan is the month of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we learn how to supplicate, we learn how to worship Allah in the way that He's supposed to be worshipped. And on top of that, we learn how to unify and put our differences aside. All of this in order to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then when the days go on, we tend to forget this. Why? Is because we've forgotten one concept, which is Tawheed. Although we know Tawheed means the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but at the same time we've forgotten it, or we've put it aside, or we put it at the back of our minds and we continue on with our lives. The most important thing in Islam is Usuluddin. These are the 5 fundamental things that make a Muslim. One of them being Tawheed, the second of them being Al-Adl, the third being Nubuwah, then Imamat, then Ma'ad. So we see all of these that we've mentioned. But if we forget Imamat, we forgot Nubuwat, then that means we haven't remembered our first one, which is Tawheed. Tawheed, part of Shahr Ramadan, is we do whatever it is that we can to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala so that we may be rewarded and our past sins may be forgiven. Sallallahu Muhammadin wa alihi. Now, how is it that one can accept or expect Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive them if they haven't understand the concept of Tawheed? Why do I say this? Because if we understand the concept of Tawheed, we have understood the concept of Al-Adl, An-Nubuwah, and Imamat. If we understand all of these, then it's simple to understand Ma'ad, which is resurrection. Why do I say this? Because if I forgot Tawheed, the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I've also forgotten Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam. I've forgotten the prophets. I've forgotten Karbala. Because if we look at it, the people who fought Imam Hussein in Karbala, it's not like they weren't Muslim. They were Muslims and they were fighting Muslims. But remember, there's a difference between a Muslim and a mu'min. A Muslim, we have the privilege of being born a Muslim. A mu'min, we have to work hard in studying and remaining steadfast on Sirat al-Mustaqim. What's Sirat al-Mustaqim? We read this specific verse every single time we read Surah Al-Fatiha. We're asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Ihdina Sirat al-Mustaqim. Who is Sirat al-Mustaqim? What is this path that we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to guide us? This path is the path of Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam.
MashaAllah, par khushude Imam Zamana bulandar salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad.
In previous lectures, we said that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created intellect first. Now, if I choose not to use my intellect, what happens? my intellect, I choose to put it aside and I choose to use my desires instead. Because in Al-Kafi, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created intellect, and what did we say? He said that he told it to go back and return, and by it he will either reward or punish mankind by their intellect. Why? Because it is only our intellect can point us towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and only our intellect can point us towards Rasulullah. And again, only our intellect can point us towards Ihdina as-sirat al-mustaqim. And this is Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad.
Now, when we go to the concept of Tawheed, there are three things that we have to remember. The concept of Tawheed, there's three things we have to remember regarding Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What are these three things? One of them is the existence in itself. So for example, we have the necessary existence. We'll explain this inshallah. We have the necessary existence, we have the possible existence, and we have the impossible existence. Inshallah, we'll explain this after Allah sallallahu Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. Now it's easy to say the necessary existence is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and leave it at that. But wait, let's go a little bit more into depth. What is considered a necessary existence? A necessary existence is something that does not need anything or anyone to put it in existence. And there's only one of this. And this is not only but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not in need of nothing or no one. He did not put himself in existence, because if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put himself in existence, that means he is in need of something. And if something put Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in existence, that means he's in need of someone else to put him in existence, and this cancels itself out. So for example, if those people who say that there's two gods or multiple gods, then which God put whom in existence? Because if that's the case, then that God is weak. So if we were to say that there's two gods, and it's simple, basic math. There's two gods. All right, fine. Let's take this argument and debunk it. That the fact that there's two gods. All right, let's take this theory and let's try to see how there cannot be two gods in existence. All right. Today it's cold outside. So there's two gods. One God says, you know what? I want to make it cold. The other one says, no, I want to make it sunny like yesterday. Okay, so 2 days. One says, I want to make it cold and rainy. One says, no, I want to make it nice and hot. It becomes rainy. Which God is weak? The one who wanted to make it hot. Why? Because he wasn't able to make his own will come true. Why? So now he has surrendered his powers to the God that wanted to make it cold. And if it was vice versa, it works the same way. So now, can a God be weak? No. So if we said, okay, you know what? No. There's this type of God for money. This type of God for marriage. This type of God for this. Okay, that means he's not all powerful. He's limited, right? And we know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is unlimited. And he is the creator of everything. SubhanAllah, there's a show it's called Young Sheldon. There's a scene in it that speaks about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and how he proves Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Even though this kid in this show, he's an atheist. And his mom is a practicing Christian. What does he say? He looks at the universe and then he says, look at all of these things around the universe. They're all put in order. The mom is like, Yes, but you don't believe in God. He's like, yes, even though I don't believe in God, but there's a logical reason how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala could exist. So here we see that there is a logical reason how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala could exist. Why? Because it says, if gravity was a little bit too much, the earth will what? It will explode. If gravity was a little bit too less, earth will what? Will explode. So you see the gravity on earth, it's the exact amount that it needs to be. Not too much, not too little. If oxygen was too much, we won't be able to exist on earth. If we have too much, look at other planets. You can't live on them. You cannot live on other planets. Why? Because it is not the right amount of oxygen and not amounts of helium and all of these stuff. And at the same time, it's not the amount of sunlight, the sun rays that comes towards the earth or the other planets. It's not the amount in order for any inhabitants to take place on these type of planets. It's only earth that is the perfect amount of everything else that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allowed life to happen on earth. So this, if we have two necessary existence, how can this take place? We just disproved it just by using weather. Now, this is why you need a necessary existence. Now let's go to a possible existence. What's a possible existence? A possible existence is anything that could be possible. So, for example, a possible existence is someone able to have a family. That's possible, correct? A possible existence is me able to move from this country to another country. That's possible. So something that's possible, there's a possibility of it happening. That's an example of a possible existence. Now, what's an impossible existence? Impossible existence is something that cancels each other out. So let's put it in lame terms so everyone can understand, especially the younger ones. Impossible existence. This is where we can disprove the Christians when they call Nabi Isa the Son of God. So an impossible existence is someone being their father and their son at the same time. No way that this could happen. No way, impossible. If everyone can, and if anyone can disprove this, by all means, the challenge is welcome. If someone can become their father and the son at the same time, this is impossible. And even though if it is possible, it becomes haram. Why? Because you can't marry your mother. So it becomes impossible. You can't do it. You can't become your father and your son at the same time. Because you have to be in existence and then you have to put yourself in existence. So not in existence and then put yourself in existence. So this is impossible within itself. So how do we say that Nabi Isa is not the Son of God or God himself? Because first of all, Nabi Isa will have to put himself in existence. And we learned if you put yourself in existence, you're what? You're a possible existence. So Nabi Isa alayhi salam, if someone was to say he's the Son of God and he is God at the same time, wait, who put whom in existence? If Nabi Isa put God in existence, that means he is God. If God put Nabi Isa in existence, that means he is a possible existence. But he can't be two at the same time. This is where you throw that theory out. How he is God and the Son of God at the same time. Sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now let's also debunk this by using the Father. That impossible existence. Or, okay, so you have a father, and then you have a son, and then he has a son. Now here we're going to go back all the way back to the necessary existence. how the necessary existence is in need in order for everything else to exist. So you have a father. The father has a son who puts their son in existence, and so forth. Now you go back all the way to your forefathers, your great-great-great-great-great-grandfather. Now who put him in existence? And then you keep going back all the way to when? Till you reach the necessary existence himself, which is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So you see how we can trace back, everything can trace back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam. Speaks about two types of people that will perish, that are considered perished. He says, two people will perish when it comes to me. Two people will perish when it comes to me. One of those, the one who loves me to the point that they take me to the level of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because they have given me the qualities that don't belong to me. So here you see, even though Amir al-Mu'mineen himself, he is the gates to the city of knowledge. He knows almost all the secrets. Now you're telling me there are other people out there who puts Imam Ali so high, that's to the point that they put him either higher than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or at the same level of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You have people who do this. Why? Because you have people sometimes, some scholars, who will come on this minbar and put Imam Ali so high. Why? It's because they want to hear the Naira Haidaris, they want to hear salawat loud, they want to be popular. They use this minbar for popularity. So they use Amir al-Mu'mineen, and sometimes they use bogus things. They say bogus things. Yes, I understand you want to praise him, but sometimes we have to be careful when we sit on the minbar of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Because remember yesterday, what hadith did we say regarding monkeys? Regarding the vision of Rasulullah, where he says monkeys will assemble the minbar. These people also fall into that. These people will also perish if we put Amir al-Mu'mineen and give him the qualities of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yes, respect Amir al-Mu'mineen. No one's saying don't respect him. Yes, respect him. But at the same time, we have to know who the necessary existence is and who the possible existence is. So Imam Ali alayhi salam falls under what? Possible existence. There's no way he can be a necessary existence. And if anything, he's done, because there's some riwayas out there, or even in the Quran, he says, look, or what about Nabi Ibrahim alayhi salam? What about Nabi Isa alayhi salam when he raised the dead? Only Allah can do it. No, they can only do this with the permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Can a human being or a jinn also do this? Yes. When we look at the story of Sulaiman, when he wanted the throne of Sheba, what happened? It got brought to him before he can blink his eye. Why? Because this person had the permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bring the throne of Sheba to him. So you see, everything happens with the permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So anything that happens within our lives, either good or bad, it's because of the permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if it's bad, it's because of my own sins. It's because of my own doing. Sallallahu Muhammadin wa alihi. Now the second person that will perish, according to Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam, the commander of the faithful, what does he say? Amir al-Mu'mineen says, the second person are those who don't acknowledge my rights and position. Who don't acknowledge what? He doesn't say who does not acknowledge Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because they already acknowledge Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They already have acknowledged Rasulullah. But who did they miss? Remember we mentioned the Usuluddin. What are the Usuluddin? We say it's Tawheed. Then we say it's Adl, the justice of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The justice of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He has to guide me. It's wajib on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to guide me. It's my rights that I have on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He has to guide me. It's my rights that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has to put prophets. It's my rights that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has to have justice. And through His justice, which is Adl, He has to put prophets, which is, we have prophethood, Nabuwah. And then after that, the prophets have to have successors after them, which is Imamat. So here we see that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is following a specific criteria. So if I, or if we have ignored the rights of Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam, then I also will perish. Why? Because I have ignored the rights that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has on me. Because the rights that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has on me is that first I have to know Him and I have to worship Him. And in order for me to know my Lord, I have to worship Him. Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam was once asked, can you see your Lord? What was his answer? How can I worship a Lord that I do not see? Wait. Hold on a minute. Let's reverse. You're saying you can see your Lord? Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen? Yes. How? Look at the creation around you. These are the signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. One thing, every day on earth, it's like hell. How? Some punishments of hell are happening around us that we don't even see. Some signs of the day of judgment are happening that we don't even comprehend. Why? Because we fail to see the existence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala around us. So for example, how many seasons do we have? 4. What are they? Yeah, go on.
Winter, summer, spring, fall.
Ahsant. What happens in the fall? Everything dies. Will we not die? What happens in the spring? Everything gets resurrected. Look at the tree, simple as a tree. During the fall, the leaves turn a certain color and they fall off. During spring, rain comes, it waters the trees, and all of a sudden, the tree starts growing back its leaves. Is this not the day of judgment? All right, now let us go how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put hellfire in the scorching heats. Do we not feel the sun? How far is the sun away from the earth? Millions and millions and millions of kilometers away, right? But yet we still feel its heat. To the point that it can even give us skin cancer and burn. And this is not the sun itself, by the way. This is just the rays of the sun. A speck of the sun is burning us. Jahannam. Winter, it gets so cold that we can get frostbites to the point that if we get a frostbite so much, we lose limbs. This is also hell. This is also a portion of hell of certain individuals. So there's actually a hadith, a narration that says, forgive me for those who are Sayyids, but it's going to be mentioned. The hell for the Sayyids, or for those who are related to the prophets, is the cold one. In Canada? Maybe. But it's even colder than that.
Already here.
Yes, right? So here we see the signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala around us. Everywhere we go, whatever we see the signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. One person asked one of the Imams, I believe it was Imam Ja'far Sadiq alayhi salam. But one of the Imams were asked, can Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put a universe in an egg without making the egg any bigger or the universe smaller? Can Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Can he? You sure?
Yes.
How so?
He is a God, he can do anything.
Without making the egg any smaller, the universe smaller? You sure? All right. Now, before we go to prove this, answer this question, you're right. But before we prove this question, I'll ask you another question. Can Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala create a rock so heavy that he cannot lift? Think about that. Why?
If he does, then it limits his power.
Exactly. So that question itself cancels each other out. Itself, that question is a problem in it. Because if I say he can, and he can't lift it up, that means he's weak. And if he can't, that means he's not a creator. Now let us go back to the universe one. Because we had to understand this before we understand the universe one. So the Imam alayhi salam took him to the roof of the house. And he told him, look towards the horizon, the furthest your eyes can see. And tell me, what do you see? What does he tell him? He's like, I see trees, I see birds, I see clouds, I see this, I see houses, and whatever. He's like, okay. You see all of this with what? Your pupil. What's bigger, your egg or the pupil? You see all of these. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was able to fit all of these things within your pupil without making the universe any smaller or your pupil any bigger. So here you see how we can answer that question. So when we ever ask that question, tell the person, look around you, what do you see? How small is a pupil? So small. Really small. Right? But yet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is able to fit the whole universe within our pupil. Sallallahu Muhammadin wa ali اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد يا أحد يا أحد يا صمد يا صمد يا من لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد بحق ياسين القرآن الحكيم وبحق طه والقرآن العظيم يا من يقدر حوائج السائلين يا من يعلم في الضمير يا منفسا للمكروبين يا مفرجا للمغمومين يا راحم الشيخ الكبير يا رازق الطفل الصغير يا من لا يحتاج إلى تفسير صل على محمد وآل محمد وافعل به اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. Please ask for your hajat.
Just want to take this opportunity to thank Sheikh Naeem, who has been very kind all the month of Ramadan to come and give lectures on every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Thank you very much for your services to the Batool. You are always a role model for many of us, and thank you for being here. And I know you're going to Toronto, but all of our best wishes are with you and your family. Eid Mubarak to you and your family as well from the Batool. Baruch Imam Zamana Bulandar Salawat.